Hey guys, we are doing language class right now, so if you do not have out your language book, go ahead and do that and turn to page 148. Now, in our language page that we're doing, we actually are doing something that we technically already know how to do. So, we're using the words a, and the, and those three words are called articles. So if I'm referring to articles, I'm just referring to the three words a, and the. That's all it is. So looking at this top purple box at the top of the page, an adjective, of course, is a word that describes a noun. We know that. A, and the are always used as adjectives. Okay? The book doesn't tell us that they're called articles, but that's what they are called. And we've said this before, and we've kind of already done this to some extent. We've used them as adjectives, and we know that the words a, and the, we already know that they're adjectives, and they answer which adjective questions. Remember, I have 5. Which one, what kind, how many, how much, whose. Those are my 5 adjective questions. And the words a, and the answer which adjective questions. Right, it answers that first one. Which one? It wasn't the first one that we learned, but it was the first one on our list. Okay, let's go ahead and say our adjective questions together. Which one, what kind, how many, how much, whose. Let's do it one more time. Which one, what kind, how many, how much, whose. All right, I wanted to go over a couple things before we start in the book. Just make sure we get this down, because if we're not careful, the words a and the words and can mix us up. The word the can go before any noun. It doesn't matter. But the words a and the words and have a specific rule that needs to be followed. So I want to go over that so there's no confusion. Okay? And it says it in the book. Use a before words that begin with a consonant sound. Use a before words with a vowel sound. And you notice it doesn't just say a consonant or a vowel, it's a consonant or vowel sound. And I'll kind of go into that a little bit when we go over it on the board. Okay, so if I have the word person, am I going to say a person or an person? Think of that first sound in person. Person starts with what letter? Right, it starts with P, and P is a consonant. So I will say a person. A person. Okay, what if I have the word oven? What if I have the word oven? Am I going to say a oven or an oven? Right, oven starts with an O, so it needs the word an in front of it. An oven, a person. What if I have the word computer? Computer. Computer, a computer? Or is it an computer? Right? A computer, because it starts with a C. Computer. A computer. What about the word game? Game. A game or an game? Right? A game, because it starts with, right, a G, and that is a consonant. What about the word idea? Idea. I'm going to say a idea or an idea? Right? An idea, because it starts with an I. An idea. What about family? Am I going to say a family or an family? Right, a family. Family is an F, it's a consonant. So it's going to go over here. What about the word office? Office. Right, office starts with an O, so it's going to be an office. Word school, school starts with an S, so it's going to be school right here, because it starts with an S. The S is a, right, it's a consonant. What about elementary school? Okay, elementary is not a person, place, or thing. It's telling me what kind of school. So am I gonna say, well, it's elementary school, school is the noun, so I'm gonna use that, or am I gonna say, well, elementary is the word that would be coming right before the word a or an, so I'm gonna use that one. Okay, there might be a little bit of confusion with that. It's whatever word is right after a or an, so we would be using an elementary school, because the word elementary would come right after my a or an. In this case, it's an. Elementary school. Okay, and one more thing before I erase this. What about the word hour? Like an hour of time. You have minutes, seconds, and hour. Hour is spelled H-O-U-R. I'll spell it right up here. H-O-U-R. That's the word hour. Hour starts with an H. That's a consonant. So you would think, oh, it's a consonant, so I'm going to say a hour. But it's not about whether it's a consonant, it's about whether it's a consonant sound. When it's a consonant sound, it's not hour. That's not how this word is pronounced. Same with the word ukulele, okay, that like a little guitar thingy. Ukulele, it starts with a U, but it's a y sound at the beginning. So that would be a ukulele. We would say an hour. So that's our examples of a and an. Make sure you keep those straight. I want you to take what we just applied on the board with a and an and use it on Think A. I'm not going to go over Think A in the video. If you need extra help, you can ask mom and dad, or you can go in the comment section of RenWed and ask for help there. But I don't think I need to spend time in the video going over that. Remember B, they just want you to use the proofreader's marks to fix those mistakes. Same thing that we did yesterday, capitalization, that insert mark, that delete mark, and that spelling mark. You notice I didn't mention one of them that are in the book. That LC is lowercase. So if something is capitalized when it shouldn't be, like if I had the sentence, we went to school. School is not a specific person, place, or thing, so it shouldn't be capitalized. So I would draw a line through that S, since it's not supposed to be capitalized, and above it I would put LC for lowercase to show that this letter right here is not supposed to be capitalized, it's supposed to be lowercase. That's all that is. We're going to go ahead and start on Remember B. We're using those proofreader's marks, and we're going to go ahead and go right through it. They already capitalized that first word of the sentence, so we don't need to worry about capitalizing it. I'm looking through here, and do you see any words that need to be capitalized? Yeah, I don't see any words that need to be capitalized. So we're going to go ahead and skip that capitalization. Inserting. I don't see any places that need commas, but I do see that this sentence needs an end mark. What end mark am I going to use? It's either going to be it's either going to be period, question mark, or exclamation point. So I have you ever wondered what it would be like to be an astronaut? Okay, is my sentence making a statement? That's not a statement. Have you ever wondered? That's not how a statement starts, but that is how a question starts. So if I have a question, that's an interrogative sentence. What goes at the end of an interrogative sentence? Right, a question mark. So go ahead and put that insert mark and that question mark. And then I have lowercase. I don't see any things that need to be lowercase. The only capital letter in the sentence is the first word of the sentence, and of course that needs to be capitalized. Delete. I don't see anything that needs to be deleted. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to be an astronaut? They're all correct. And you notice they have the word astronaut, starts with an A, makes that A sound, ah. And what word did they put in front of it? They put the word an, right, because an astronaut. They don't say a astronaut, an astronaut. Okay, and last thing, spelling mistakes. There is a spelling mistake in here. If you haven't found it yet, I want you to pause the video, take a look at the sentence in your book, see if you can find it. Okay, our spelling mistake is, if I were to read this as it's written, have you ever wondered what it would be like to be an astronaut? What word was not correct? Right, the word like. It's supposed to be like, not lick. So I would take this, cross it out, put that little E there. Remember I said E, kind of think about it like the word eliminate. And above it, write the word like, L-I-K-E, like. All right, you may have noticed I skipped a sentence in this paragraph. I skipped the sentence, the word astronaut means space sailor. I skipped that sentence because there's no mistakes in it. So if you went through this before we were doing it on the board and everything, and you saw that there were no mistakes in that sentence, good job. Okay, I wanted to take a look at this next sentence, and this actually will be the last sentence I do in this paragraph. I want you to go through and see if you can find any more sentences. I still want you to go through the paragraph and see if you can find any more mistakes. You don't have to find every single mistake, but I do want to see how many you can find. That would be a good challenge for yourself. So let's go ahead and do this sentence. It says, men and women who are astronauts must go to college and learn much about science and arithmetic. So, what are my mistakes? Well, first let's look at capitalization. The first word is capitalized, so we know that 1, we don't need to capitalize it, and 2, it doesn't need to be lowercase because it's already correct. And I'm looking, I see the word astronauts, but that's not a specific person, so it doesn't need to be capitalized. I see the word college, and sometimes college will need to be capitalized, but this is not referring to any specific college, so it doesn't get capitalized. And science, arithmetic, those are subjects, but they don't get capitalized. So we're not going to capitalize anything here. Insert, I don't see any places that need periods or commas or anything like that, so no inserts. Lowercase, we already mentioned lowercase, there's not any in here. Delete, there is one word in here that does need to be deleted. If you haven't found it already, I want you to pause the video, see if you can find it. All right, if you have found it, good job. This one was a little bit more tricky because it's the same word 2 times in a row next to each other. And let's read it together, see if we can find a mistake. I'll read each word that is there. Men and women who are astronauts must go to college and learn much about science and arithmetic. What word was repeated? Right, the word and is written 2 times in a row. Sometimes that will happen in writing, and people don't catch it because they're reading it so fast. So when we're going through and doing proofreader's marks and catching mistakes like this, don't just go through the sentence and read really fast, because you're going to miss really small mistakes like this. Don't let yourself do that. So it doesn't really much matter which and you take out, they're both the same word, but one and needs to be taken out. I'll take this second and out. If you take the first one out, that's fine. But one of them still needs to be there. The other one needs to get taken out. So just cross out, kind of put that little E there. And this word is not getting replaced by anything. So I'm not going to write another word to replace this. It was just there when it was not supposed to be there. So we'll just leave it. And spelling mistakes, I'm not seeing any mistakes. So we'll go ahead and leave that. Like I said, see if you can go through the rest of this paragraph and find any more mistakes that you can. You don't have to go through and find every single little mistake. You're not going to be penalized for missing something, but just to see if you can challenge yourself. All right, I have Think C number 1 on the board. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's find our noun. So, obviously, first word of my sentence, Carlos, that is a person. Person is a noun, gets underlined because we are underlining our nouns. We're underlining our nouns 1 time, not twice. Carlos. We have Carlos watched. Watched is a verb. And looking back at Carlos, are there any adjectives describing Carlos? Which one, what kind, how many, how much, or whose? I don't see any. So we'll move on. Carlos watched the green. Green's a color. Colors are not, I would say like 80 to 85% of the time, colors are not going to be nouns. So green is not a noun in this case. And yellow, also not a noun in this case. Parachute is a thing, so it gets underlined. Now we have, what kind of parachute is it? Well, is it a yellow parachute? Absolutely. So yellow is going to get circled. Draw an arrow from yellow to parachute. And again, you have it all on one line in your book, but I have to go up this, from this line to this line. We have still, what kind of parachute? Well, it's yellow, but it's also, right, green. Green is going to get circled. And I'm going to have to draw a line kind of like that to parachute. But you're just going to draw over. And we just went over today the words a, and the. We said they're always going to be adjectives. And they're answering the question, which one? Which parachute? The parachute. So, the gets circled. Draw an arrow from the to parachute. Again, you're going to kind of be going over the word instead of under like I did. And then I have no more adjectives for parachute, but I still have another noun. So let's look. I have Carlos watched the green and yellow parachute in the sky. Where's my noun? Right, the word sky over here is a noun. It's underlined one time. And I have my adjective. See if you can find the adjective before I say it. Right, just the word the. Again, always going to be an adjective. Draw a line from the word the to the word sky. So number 2. I want you to pause the video if you have to and take a look. I missed something in this sentence. Take a look at your book, see what is on the board, see if I missed something, because I did miss something. All right, you should have seen that I missed quotation marks. Mrs. Martin asked, well, she's speaking. When someone is speaking, we need to put something around their words. What do we put around their words? Right, we put quotation marks. And that's something that I missed, but I wanted to see if you could catch that. Very good. So let's take a look at my nouns in this sentence and see if we can find those adjectives. I have Mrs. Martin asked. Well, I already have a noun right there. It's a compound noun, means it's 2 or more words. Right, Mrs. Martin. Right, because Mrs. is a word, Martin is a word, so that's considered a compound noun. Remember, a compound noun is just 2 or more words that is talking about the same thing, like Landmark Christian School is a compound noun. More than one word, it's talking about one place. Mrs. Martin, 2 words, Mrs. and Martin, 2 words talking about one person. Same thing with like Mrs. or Mr. or Miss, anyone, okay? Same thing. So Mrs. Martin, do I have any adjectives describing Mrs. Martin? Right, I don't have any. There's no which one, what kind, how many, how much, or whose with Mrs. Martin. So let's continue on. Mrs. Martin asked, why is your little brother, well, I found another noun. Why is not a noun. The word why, not the letter Y. Is a verb. It's on my helping verb list. Am, is, are, was, were, be, being, been, have, has, had. Go ahead and say your helping verbs with me. It's good practice. Am, is, are, was, were, be, being, been, have, has, had. Good. That is obviously not going to be a noun because it's on my helping verb list. Your, I know it looks like the word you, but the word you and the word your are not the same word. Your is not a noun. Little is not a noun either because it's telling me the size of something. That's not going to be a noun. Brother, that's a person, place, or thing. So I would say brother is a noun. Okay, I have the word brother. Do we have any adjectives describing brother? Which one? What kind? How many? How much? Or whose? Let's try what kind. So what kind of brother? He's a little brother. So circle little and draw an arrow from little to brother. And do I have any other adjectives describing brother? Which brother? No. We already said what kind of brother? There's no other what kind. How much or how many brothers? It doesn't tell me how many or how much. Whose brother? I do have a word telling me whose. Which word is telling me whose brother? Right, it's the word your. Whose brother? Your brother. Take it, the word your, draw an arrow from the word your to the word brother. Okay, there's no more words describing brother, just your and little. Moving on, why is your little brother wearing his snow boots in the house? Have a couple more nouns there. Let's start with noun and find the adjective for it and then find another noun. So, we have wearing. Well, that ing at the end of the word kind of gives me a clue. And wearing is something that you do. So that's not going to be a noun. It's going to be, right, it will be a verb. So that's not going to be a noun. His, again, it kind of looks like it might be a noun, maybe a pronoun. Like I, you, he, she, it, we, they, me, you, him, her, it, us, them. But you notice the word his was not on that list. So it's not going to be a noun or a pronoun. Snow could be a person, place, or thing. But in this sentence, the way snow is being used, it's not a person, place, or thing. And we'll see why in a moment. But just take my word for it. Snow is not going to be considered a noun in this sentence. The word boots, however, boots is clothing, something that you put on. Boots is a noun. So we underline it one time. Now I could say, what kind of boots are they? Here we see. What kind of boots are they? They are snow boots. Do you see how snow, even though snow is technically a thing, it's like rain, snow, things like that, but here snow is being used as an adjective telling me what kind of boots they are. So if you got caught up on that, don't feel bad. That one was a little bit tricky. So circle the word snow and draw a line from snow to boots. Now I have another adjective here too. Same thing as up here. We have what kind of boots? Snow boots. Whose boots? Well, whose boots are they? Right, they're his boots. So circle the word his, draw a line from his to boots. Okay, there are no more words describing boots, as an adjective at least. There are no more adjectives describing boots. So we're moving on. Last thing we have is in the house. Which one of those words is a person, place, or thing? Right, the word house. House is a place, or you could consider it a thing if you would like. House gets underlined one time. And I have a word that's always going to be a noun in front of house. The word the. The gets circled, draw an arrow. This is number 2. I want you to go ahead and try to do 3, 4, and 5 from this section as well. I'm not going to go over it on the board or in the video, but I want you to see how many you can come up with. See how many that you can find. That's the lesson about a, in, and the. I know the primary portion of that a, in, and the that we were going over was at the beginning of the video. Make sure you keep that in mind. a, and the are articles. They're always going to be adjectives, and then my a and my and kind of have those special rules with the consonants and vowels. So keep those things in mind.